And hello there again, folks, on this lovely August Saturday afternoon. Stampede Valkyrie coming back at you again with another interesting light video. This is going to be a multi-parter, depending on how much time I have to work on this, or have to work on this. I've got an AeroDynic Mini Aero. This one is actually a Model 22, I believe it's a 22H. Haven't really dug too far into it. Just give you the quick walk around on it as we go through it. This is how I'm coming to it, at least coming to its start. I have some very interesting domes that I want to throw on here, give it a cleaning and get it working again. I've been sitting on this light for a while. I think I picked this light up as part of a larger deal, and it sat down on my shelves downstairs. And I figured, you know what, let's give it a go. Plus I actually have a use for the alley inserts that this light came with, which is interesting, finding alley inserts on a Mini Aero. So I have a set of red alley inserts, and these will, at least one of them will go to another light as I come through them. But I know the first thing I'm going to get asked is, why are the domes backwards? That's pretty valid. The back of the bar is where the clear sections are. The front of the bar is all red. If you flip this around, this could be an NFPA bar. I could see people having interest in that. I mean, that's what this looks like to me. It just looks like the domes are backwards, and we're going to go from there. So starting things off, I want to give this thing a good cleaning. There's some stuff here. I'm not sure what that is. Probably come off with some magic eraser. But first things first, I'm going to hit this with some simple green and some basic tools. Maybe a hose, just because I'm outside, because I don't feel like making a larger mess than need be. See if I can clean these domes up a little bit, but they're coming off anyway. I just want to see what will happen when I clean them up. So here's my starting point. Let's go ahead here and hit these up with some simple green, a cloth, and some hose, and we'll come back and see what it looks like. So coming back into this now, my quick shower, or basically it's quick shower using a hose, some simple green and a rag. You'll see that, I mean, obviously there's some water still on it, but it's in actually very good shape. One of the things I noticed that I'm actually kind of happy is that a lot of the parts, or the whatever that was sitting here, is gone. I'm not sure if that was paint splatter, some sort of chemical residue. It did come off. A little bit of coaxing with some water and some soap. And really, domes are not in bad shape. I may actually have a use for these later, even though this is not what's going to stay on this bar. The other thing that's also worth noting, you'll see that there is some water on the inside, mostly because of the dry rot on this inner seal. So this won't be a light that's ever going to go out and see the light of day again. If it does, or at least any usage outside, if it does, I'd have to reseal that center gap, as there's some issues already as I'm going along here. So on that note, let's get these domes off and take a look at the inside. If I have to do some additional drying, I'll do so, but let's take a look and see how she looks on the inside. And if she's as clean as she is now on the outside, I can proceed. All right, the domes are off. A little bit of a bath on the inside. I'm going to give this thing a little bit of a cleanup. A little wet, not too bad. I did a little bit of drying. I'm going to let this dry a little more before I apply any power to it, because I just don't feel like having anything, say, water getting into that motor. But a couple of things worth noting. It is a 22H. I believe I said that before. Tag does read 22H. And we'll get down here on that. There it is. So it is a 22H. The SAE tag says 1983. It's very possible that this is an older bar. However, I will point you to the gearbox and the motor, which look almost new old stock. That's an amazing condition. How I can tell that this is not 1983 is as I go down here and we get a little lower and a little lower. You'll see that right there we've got a build date of November of 2000. Yeah, a little new to be 1983. So the motor and the gearbox are not original to this light. To be honest with you, I don't care. Typically you can date these bars based off of what the motor, if the motor's original, and the SAE tag, as the motors are usually mounted to these things approximately the same time these bars are built. However, in this instance, the gearbox and the motor have probably both been swapped for a functioning one, and this bar was put back into service by its previous owner. But it's been sitting with me for a couple of years now, so she hasn't been used in a while. We give this time a little bit of time to dry, and then I think we'll hook it up to some power and do a function test to see if she lights up. All right, we're back at it again. Gave it a little bit of time for this thing to clean up or dry out a little bit. Haven't yet wiped it down, but let's go ahead and power it up. I got my power supply connected. We're live, and she turns pretty smoothly. Can't really knock that. I'll give you the 360 as we come up. It's pretty quiet. No wobble either, which is kind of surprising. May do a little bit of a wipe. Other than that, motor turning, she's burning. All the bulbs work. I have a feeling I think I probably powered this up too at one point. Pre me putting this back on the rack, but it means I don't really have to do much to it other than do some cleaning and throw the domes that I want to throw on here. So on that note, let's go ahead and get this bar cleaned up, put the new domes on it, and wrap this video. And voila, there it is. So that's my interesting dome configuration that I wanted to throw on here. These are new old stock domes. Well, new domes. I don't really know if old stock, but they came in via a trade from one of my very good friends down in Tennessee. This is actually pretty nice. I think this turned out better than I thought it was going to. Like I said, I'm not putting the inserts back in there. The clear is fine. But very interesting dome configuration here. Kind of incorporates everything other than maybe a blackout piece on a Mini Aero. So with that said, let's go ahead and power it up. Shaky cam. And give you a good view of it. What it looks like lit up. Turning and burning. There she goes. For those asking why it's kind of off-canted a little bit, besides my awesome camera skills, you'll see that that cord comes up in the middle and it doesn't sit flush. If I put feet on this, it would, but the cord is kind of making it lean down this way a little bit, just an FYI. But there it is. In a nutshell, quick project, one-day job. Didn't really need to do a whole lot to it. Domes didn't really need any work, obviously. Well, actually the original ones did, but mostly a cleanup. And they're sitting over there, and they will get reused, or something else will happen to them at some point in the near future. But breathing life back into a bar. I like this dome configuration. This is actually pretty cool. Let's see if I can get down. Again, you can see that off cant a little bit, but I really like this dome configuration. I think I have another one that's very similar to this, or reverse, but just very cool. And on that note, hopefully you're all enjoying this summer August day. Stampede Valkyrie signing out.